I didn't pass very well. My dad took me to school at that time for admission. So I had a box. My dad bought me some nyama choma. The dome prefect was told, please take this guy to the dome. And I remember it was, I think, on a Saturday. And when I entered the dome, everyone went crazy. People crowded around me. I didn't have my box. My box had everything. I didn't have my bucket. I didn't have my fruits. And that nyama they had planned to eat that night was gone. So it is in Iskili High School that I met Kaka. We were deskmates at some point. Alikuwa prefect. Yeah, so from Rescos Primary, when I completed my KCPE, I stayed out for a while. I remember I didn't pass very well. I didn't do well in primary school. So nilitafutiwa shule. And I remember my first school was in, there's a school in Kinangop. Ilikuwa inaitwa Henny High School. I don't know if it changed the name or if it's still there. So what used to happen is the matatu used to drop you at Kinungi on your way to Naivasha or Nakuru. Then you walk like 3 to 4 kilometers towards the school. Na unapanda mlima, you go up the hill. The school used to be somewhere up the hill for 3 kilometers. So it was called Henny. So I stayed there for a year. And I've just remembered a funny story. So when I was in Form 1, my dad took me to school at that time for admission. So I had a box. Along the way, my dad bought me some nyama choma and some fruits, and they put it in a black paper. I used to have black paper back then. Now, nilikuwa na karai na jembe, because you were only admitted if you had a jembe and a karai. So I remember a bucket, that is. So I remember walking into the school, warm welcome. I was admitted, and then now I had to say bye to my father. My father left, and then I was assigned the dome prefect. The dome prefect was told, please take this guy to the dome. And I remember it was, I think, on a Saturday. So I entered the dome. So the dome is like a big hall with now double-decker beds. And I remember on one side I was carrying my box. On the other side I was carrying my bucket and now the paper bags with nyama and fruits. And when I entered the dome, everyone went crazy. There was so much noise. Then people came towards me. People crowded around me. Umeona ile clip ya watu wa Mombasa kuibiwa? Same thing happened to me. I closed my eyes, opened my eyes, I had nothing. I didn't have my box. My box had everything. I didn't have my bucket. I didn't have my fruits. And that nyama that I had planned to eat that night was gone. My friend, I asked myself, where am I? What is this now? Nimetoka Nairobi, I've been brought to Kinangop, and now I have nothing here. So I was really depressed and sad. The only thing that saved me was the dome prefect stood in the middle of the dome and shouted, whoever has this boy's stuff, bring it back, or you're going to face the heat. So luckily I got back, nilirudishiwa my bucket, I got back my bucket, I got back my box. But man, I never got my nyama, man. The guy who stole that nyama ni sawa tu. So yeah, so it was an awakening experience. It was a shocker being away from Nairobi, and you know, it was a boarding school, so being away from your parents and starting a whole life. So I did my Form 1 there, nikamaliza. Then I sort of didn't go back because it was too expensive for my dad to maintain my travel from Nairobi to Kinangop and also be able to pay for the school fees. By that time, by the way, my mom passed away when I was 13 years. So by the time I was finishing my KCSE, my mom had already passed away. So I was only with one parent. So my dad was the one doing everything for us. So he made a decision. I came back home, of course, in Eastlands, upon maternity, and I stayed for I think a month. And then the school that was near where we used to live was Iskili Boys High School. So luckily he knew someone whose wife was working there as a teacher, and I got admission and I got space. So I went to Iskili, and that's where my story of Iskili High School started. So yes, after Henny High School in Form 1, I started Iskili High School in Form 2. After Henny High School, I did my Form 1, finished my Form 1. Then I was transferred, or rather was admitted at Eastlands Boys High School. And I remember my first term in Eastlands vividly is there was a strike. We went on strike. Guys went on strike. So where the school is in Eastlands, so kulikuwa na manganya mingi. Apparently, unfortunately, one of the students we were in the same school got into an accident and was killed by one of the matatus. So we went on strike. Not us, but our older peers, the ones in Form 3 and Form 4 and Form 2. They went on strike. So as we are there, scared, we don't know what's going on. Tumeka kwa class, then all of a sudden, a big guy comes in. Akasema, mtatoka nje ama tutakuja tuwatoe. And we all had to kaka watu. So we went on the streets. It was fun because, it is on a crowd. We are happy, we are chanting. So the plan was, we go to Pumwani Girls. Pumwani Girls was a few meters away, or rather a few minutes away from Eastlands Boys. So the plan was to go to Pumwani Girls, go say hi to our girlfriends there at Pumwani Girls, and then go to town to continue our protest. But the police had other plans. So before we even reached Garissa Lodge, because it was just there, police appeared. They had this walikuwa na hizi Peugeot, the bongo ones, alafu na hizi roli zao, anti-road police. Sasa ni kukimizwa mbio jamaa. My friend, it was a long day. I think I got lost somewhere in Pangani, and because I was in a uniform, so I had to change and all that. But anyway, luckily tulitoka. So that was a very good experience. By that time we were living with my aunt. No, we were living in town. So in between shifting from my high school in Njenga to now Eastlands Boys, we had also to vacate because now my mom had passed away and we could not live in the city council house there anymore. We were told you need to vacate so that someone who actually works here can come into this house. So my dad got a one-roomed house in town in CBD, a place called Riverside. Hapo Riverside, hapo Karioko Riverside. Tulikuwa naishi hapo. I was actually living inside the CBD. We were living there. Me, my bro, my sis, and my nephew called Junior. But by that time, Junior was a very small child. Kando yetu kulikuwa na watu wanauza mataya. So there were a lot of campers who used to sell tires. That's their business there. So walikuwa wanauza tires za gari. Kulikuwa na mama uji hapo. I think kulikuwa na mtu anashona. So it was just a business area, but because it was available and it was affordable, we lived there. So we lived there for a couple of months. Of course, my dad was not working. So it became a bit of a struggle for him to be able to pay for the rent and be able to put food on our table. By that time, my sister was working. My sister called Maureen. She used to work as a marketing girl in these products in supermarkets. So she used to provide food for us at that point. So my dad was totally not working. Also, my dad had started developing complications with what's the name of this disease? It's a brain disease. I'll remember it. So basically it starts eating up your memory. It starts eating up your nerves, the nervous system, and it makes you slow and weak day by day. Yeah, so he was a bit unwell, so he couldn't travel a lot and couldn't work. So it reached a point now he could totally not support what we were doing. And we had to now be taken in by one of my aunts. So one of my aunts was living around Kilimani at that time. He had a big house so he could accommodate us. So we moved. So my late brother, my dad, and myself, we moved to my auntie's place, and then my sister and Junior started their own life all together. So yeah, so that was a turning point when we stayed in Kilimani. So what used to happen, because I was still in Eastlands, I used to board number 4. So number 4 buses, KBS buses. So zilikuwa natoka hapo Ngong Road zinanishikisha Telcom, then natembea kutoka Tao naenda Eastleigh Boys hapo after Shauri Moyo na Pumu. So I was not having, I had two choices. I either walk from Tao, I either walk from Ngong Road to Eastleigh Boys in the morning, or I walk from Eastleigh Boys to Tao, to Ngong Road in the evening. Or I pay fare in the morning and I walk in the evening. So what I was looking for different ways to find myself in a bus. So nilikuwa napanda basi pale mbele KBS, especially in the evenings. Napanda basi pale mbele, naambia conductor, they used to have receipt machines. Ukilipa wana roll that machine, wanakupatia receipt. Wanakupatia receipt. So when the conductor comes to me in the front of the bus, I tell him my parent is at the back, let me go to the back. So naenda at the back. So those cars used to be very slow. So those buses used to be very slow. So by the time they moved from Telcom or Ambassador to Ngong Road, it used to take a lot of time. So I buy time. So the bus moves in Apita hapo State House, in Apita Integrity Center, Valley Road. By the time it is at Hurlingham, the guys caught up with me. Where is your fare? So I tell him I don't have any fare, ananifukuza. So I have to alight where it is. So you see, once I'm at Hurlingham, it is easier for me to walk to Kilimani. So that was one of the tricks I used to do. The other way was in the morning when we were going to school, when you're going to Eastleigh, there used to be number 4 Nissans matatu. Zilikuwa manganya za Eastleigh number 4. They used to be very popular. High music, nini, graffiti everywhere. So ulikuwa unakuja kwa stage as the first person. Unapandanganya. So mko kama watu 5 wa 6 in that matatu. When the conductor asks, akikuliza for fare, unamuonesha kidole. Put one of your fingers like this. Anajua huyo ni vako. Rather wamebebwa for free. That one is a free ride. So I used to, once in a while I used to also do that. That was also one of the tricks I used to use to just get to school and back. Yeah, so that was Eastleigh High School. So it is in Eastleigh High School that I met Kaka. By that time tulikuwa namuita Rabbit. And we were deskmates at some point. Alikuwa prefect was alikuwa dining hall prefect ama alikuwa prefect wa science. Alikuwa prefect, but he used to wear a different tie, I think, and sweater. So yeah, so we became friends. I remember I used to struggle a lot with mathematics. Maneno ya maths ilikuwa inanilemea. So this guy used to give me private classes. After class tulikuwa tunakaa naye in another different class, ananifundisha algebra. Kuna algebra high school ama algebra and some, but siko nashikanisha. But anyway, nilikuwa tuna alikuwa na take this time ananifundisha. So yeah, so that's how we sort of started being friends then. And we used to do what we call rap battles in school. So jamaa alikuwa rapper. So me, I was trying to be a rapper. By the way, when I was living in Pumwani, I used to be around people who also used to rap. There was a guy called Ray. I remember he used to rap. Na kuna jamaa alikuwa anaitwa Tall. But his real name was Mwangi. By that time in Calif, there was a recording studio called Scratch Records. And then there was Calif Records. So there used to be beefs between those two recording studios. So Mwangi was at Scratch Records. So walikuwa wanakuja na tuchezea muziki zile amerecord, nasema wow. Then anakuja naambia hey manze, unajua nimekuwa na nani leo kwa studio nini. So by that time, my interest in music and rap started there. So fast forward, Eastleigh High School, we were doing rap music. I tried rapping. We were in a rap group, by the way. I forgotten this. We were in a rap group ilikuwa inaitwa TOS.